what are some things our human imagination can trick us into believing?
What are some things our human imagination? That everybody's better than we are? That nobody
Yes.
has more than we have?
Yes.
Or that they're happier than we are because they have more money?
There's social media for you.
Yeah. Well, the fallacy of money and happiness is complete. I know scores of conversations about that. Happiness comes from what you're saying, learning to cut the grass,
Yeah.
pulling yourself up from knowing you did a good job,
Yeah.
pushing out of comfort zone and achieving and trying, even failing because you
Yeah.
tried, but being like, but knowing that you tried. So the next time you do it, you'll do it differently so that you will get where you want to go. But we can't get anywhere if we don't try. And that's what I say to my kids. I don't care what you do. You just can never stop trying.
Yeah. That's my mantra too.
You have to stop trying. Keep trying.
Yeah. You have
Keep
to
trying, keep
fail. You have
trying,
to
keep
keep
trying.
failing.
Never
Yeah.
give up. Never give up. Never give up.
Yeah.
Yep.
That's perseverance there.
Mm.
Perseverance. So what besides your book, what do you do to give back?
Well, so the last 2021 or the 20th anniversary paralleled with my mother's death, paralleled with setting me free from all of my formal relationships and all kinds of stuff. And so it's like I crossed the finish line. And what I realized in trying to build Cozmeena and trying to have a startup and trying to promote and trying to be heard, what I learned is it's very hard to be heard. And so my next 20 years will be about amplifying others. It'll be about helping.
Yeah.
And coach, if that's in the form of coaching. We're always coaching. Any conversation, we're helping each other. And it's just really about staying curious and asking those questions, as you know. But really helping. So that's about it. I wanted to change the world. I had the formula, let's just be nice. And then taking care of women who weren't being taken care of. I mean, it was such a calling, and to just remember what we have and not what we, instead of what we don't. And, just that kind of thinking. And I tried and push it out as far as it can go, and hopefully it helped people along the way. And now it's my time to help other people get their message out there. So that's what I hope to do.
That's great. That's great. And I want to hear more about that. That's awesome. I want to thank you so much for everything. This was so insightful for me. So I'm totally being greedy about this right now, but this was great. I'm going to be completely honest. I'm going to watch this entire thing all over again because it was just so wonderful.
Well, you got a lot. I threw a lot out
Ah,
there. I mean, I haven't done an interview in a while. And as I say, 20, as I get further and further away from it, it becomes clear how to just throw these concepts into a conversation. So, I hope it's not overwhelming to people. It was fast and it's a lot. And I talk fast, and, I hope it was good.
sorry about that.
Okay.
I pressed a button there. Yes, absolutely. 100%. I so appreciate your time. I do want to ask though, we have quite a few people still listening here on live. And for those of you that are watching on the replay, make sure you hashtag replay so that we know that you are here listening all the way through to the end. We appreciate all the support that everyone is constantly giving this platform. But I do want to ask you, Lisa, because obviously the people who are still here listening are more than likely people that can relate to you. And I would love to get some advice from you as far as what would be something that you would tell a female who has lost her partner and is raising her children alone?
It's a lot. I won't kid you, but to stay in the day. That's what I wish I had done more. I mean, it was so crazy. It's such a different experience. And honestly, having young children would have been my choice if I had to lose their dad. I'd much rather handle young children because you're not managing their relationship with their father that they've just lost versus teenagers.
Yes.
Yeah. It buys you some time. You
Yes.
will deal with it,
Yeah.
but with little kids, I could deal with my own. Well,
Yeah.
because before puberty, they're in their own egocentric world. So as long as those children know that they're safe, that they themselves are okay and safe,
Yeah.
they will be okay. And that will
Yeah.
buy you time.
Yeah.
After puberty, after 12, when they recognize mortality, they know you're going to die. That's a different ball of wax. I can't really speak to that. I don't have that experience, but I do have, of course, have friends. And then that mother's really inundated with not only her grief, but the grief of her children.
Yeah.
And to me, that's all I
Heavy.
can say. The only thing any of us can do is stay in the day, do your best, and be nice to yourself, because
Yeah.
you're writing it as you go.
Yeah.
You're
I'm
writing
gonna
it.
do an add-on on that. What should people around that individual be doing? How can we help?
Mm. Yeah. Okay. So that brings up the call me if I can help you. Let me know how I can help you. And then all of a sudden you call and suddenly they're not available. Best thing you can do is just do. If they need, if you see something that needs to be done, just do it. That's for any grief situation. Like I remember in the years, like people came over to some widows' houses and put the Christmas lights on the bushes. Do a task, bring food.
Wow.
But the interesting thing about grief, and I have a friend who just went through a very bad accident, and they were, under, it wasn't a death, but it was everything but. And for 6 months, everybody was coming out of the woodwork for them. And he came home, and now he's in, rehab at home, and everybody's disappeared. So what
Yeah.
happens is there's a natural wave of caregiving that
Yeah.
happens pretty much for death, I think, for about 3 months. And then
Okay.
everybody goes back to normal.
Yeah.
And so what I try to do is remember after the fact. I don't rush in anymore. Um, but I do show up later.
Beautiful. Beautiful. And you need both.
You do.
So that's
You do.
interesting.
It's hard. And the part of it is, and the thing about a grief is it's in a death is it's usually the first year, the year of firsts.
Yeah.
And it's the second year, which is actually the worst year, because then it really is forgotten. And then there's kind of nothing. And to me, you have to get through them. There's no going around it. You have to go through it to
Yeah.
get to the third year, when you are in fact at that new normal and things are somewhat normalized, whatever that means. And the light does shine. And while you're in it, you will naturally um, be amazed by the gifts that come, by the comment that's made when you need it, by this overwhelming kindness that does show up for you. And it's not something that's going to be sustained forever. I mean, in
Mhm.
my case, it lasted a year, and I'll never forget. A very dear friend was there for me in unbelievable ways, and I crossed the first anniversary, and I never saw her again, and it broke my heart.
Wow.
Broke my heart. But she couldn't sustain it. It wasn't real.
Yeah.
And that's the truth is, yeah, we do have to get back on our feet.
Yeah.
But and I wish the only thing people didn't offer was to take care of my kids. And that's what I needed. Take care of my kids. Give me a break. Go in and babysit.
Yeah, okay, so that's great because
Go in
that
and
was actually
babysit.
where I was leading
That's what I
with
should have
that.
said first off. That was what I needed.
So that's a thing that we should offer.
Offer play dates.
Play dates.
I shouldn't say it. I have one family that showed up, a tertiary relationship. That person I didn't expect ended up saving my life that year.
Okay.
So yes, and it's kind of a pain for them, but you know what? Let me say it was I didn't have families that took my kids on play dates. This one set of families, because my kids didn't line up comfortably with everybody else's children age
Yeah.
wise. And quite honestly, people want to help, but at the same time, we all get back into our self-centered place and we just
Yeah.
try to get through our day. But yes, if you can babysit for the kids, that is the greatest gift to a young mother who is literally getting nothing for herself.
Yes. Give her some quiet time.
Yeah. Give her
Give
time
her
to go to the
some
grocery store, or just go to
Yeah.
the grocery store, but just, I wanted to do my own shopping, but that's what I didn't have help with, was my kids.
Yeah.
And I
Good to
needed
know.
help.
Yeah, good to know.
Yeah.
Because that would be something that I would think of, but not necessarily offer.
Right. And that's the other thing, this misnomer with death is people say like, oh, I don't want to bring up Ted because you might hurt you. The point is, when am I not thinking about him? What
Yeah.
am I not thinking about 9/11? It's my life, so you're
Yeah.
never offending someone. I think I've heard arguments about, people saying I'm sorry is a terrible thing, or gosh, you're doing so well. A friend of mine lost his wife a couple of years ago, and his daughter and he were just incensed that people would tell them they were doing well. So in a way, there's never the right thing to say. I
Yeah.
think what you can say is, I'm here for you, and then be there for them.
Yeah. Yeah. That is one, you're totally right with that, because some people, they have totally different views on what should or
Yes,
shouldn't be said. It's
yes,
interesting. And
and
they're
it's also
definitive about it. Like, everybody should know
yes,
that this is how it is.
right,
And then I speak to you and it's like everyone, and it's completely opposite of what, not in that context
right.
actually, but it's interesting.
Exactly. So that's what they say about grief is super individual. There
Yeah.
is no rule. And that's the other part. There's no rules. You can do whatever you want. But I think with a mother lives for her children. And that heartbreak is that heartbreak. And you just unfortunately, you take it with you to go get them at school. You're in it. You're in
Yeah.
it, and you love them and they bring you joy. My children made me laugh. I'd be nursing Timmy and he'd smile at me and I'd be like, how can I be sad? Look at that face.
I
So,
love it.
it's just there are gifts in all of it, but it's painful. They're not going to be equal to the
Yeah.
pain. They're just keeping you from tipping into the abyss forever.
Yeah.
You will be pulled back.
Yeah, definitely. Can you tell everybody what's at your website?
My website honestly is a little dated. It's really about the book, lisaluckett.com. But you can always get me, just emailing me in that way if you ever want to talk or have a coaching session. Of course, it's always, for complimentary in the beginning. I'm not as much looking for clients as I am looking to help people and just be a sounding board if you
I
need.
love that. I love that.
Yeah.
Is your social media on there?
I don't really do much in any of that. I've kind of pulled back. Again, I think that's like 60, 61. All of a sudden you're like,
You're right. Yeah, I tried to tag you on Facebook and you're not on. I forgot
I
about
am,
that.
I am. I'm under Lisa Lindemann Luckett. So that's the thing that's
Oh, I couldn't
confusing.
find you.
Right. So, I'm not a good participant in social media anymore. And I think again, that's because my first, I was this
Yeah,
is all new for me. It's not in my
totally.
habit.
Well, I'm
And I
glad that
found
you
it interesting.
responded to my LinkedIn. That is
Oh, yes.
great.
I pay attention. I just don't spend a lot of
Yes.
time there.
Yes. Oh,
Yeah.
that's great. Well, this has been fantastic. I so appreciate all of the insight that you gave us today. Do you have any closing thoughts before I close up?
No, thank you. You let me really expand on and share some really deep thinking and thinking that I do believe could really help if more people could hear it and perpetuate it if you agree with it. The idea that the emotional intelligence is where we're going, and that vulnerability and taking responsibility and introspection, looking at what our part of this is, what
Yeah.
our part of a situation is only going to take us forward in a better way. It's going to make your life better, your relationships better, deeper. It's worth the risk to be
Yeah.
vulnerable.
Yeah, absolutely. I agree with that. Well, thank you. And for
Thank you
those of
so
you,
much.
of course, for those of you that are watching live now, I so appreciate your time. For those of you watching on replay, um, same. Thank you so much for joining us here on Her Version. This community is expanding every single day and is filled with humans who are striving to do better than they did yesterday. For those of you that are new to this podcast, and like this content, make sure you hit that subscribe button, follow, like, and share. If you have an amazing story to share of struggle to triumph, be sure to reach out to me here or at herversion.life. I am your host, Sabrina Victoria, and I'm so grateful to be here sharing a platform that allows people to share their truth and inspire others, do something